Mashiach Yahweh Mashiach Yahweh.
Oh, I just wait on Jesus. Lord, I'm gonna wait because my waiting day will soon be over. Oh, yes, it will. Oh, I'm just waiting, standing your way on Jesus. Oh, yes, I am. Lord, I'm gonna wait because my waiting day will soon be over. Oh, yes, it will. You know, sometimes my way seems dark as night. Oh, Lord, yeah. My waiting day what? Will soon be over. Oh, yes, it will. Oh, come on, wait. Just wait. Waiting on who? I'm gonna be steadfast just like Job, y'all. Soon be over. Yeah. One more verse. You know, sometime, then sometime. Oh Lord, I gotta wait. Soon be over. Yeah, but you know what? But when my work down here. My starry crown. I gotta wait. One day it's gonna be over, yeah. And I'm gonna wait. On him. Oh yes. No matter what the world say about me, I'll wait. And just wait on Jesus. Lord, I'm gonna wait because my waiting day will soon be over. Oh, yes, it will. Oh, I'm just waiting, standing your way on Jesus. Oh, yes, I am. Lord, I'm gonna wait because my
Shalom, brothers and sisters. Once again, it's the voice of your brother Tazadaq, coming at you through the Spirit of the Most High in Christ. To you about the other Jesus. The Jesus that brought many of your ancestors here. I want to talk to you about Jesus, the good ship, or should I say, the good ship Jesus of Lubeck. Now, first thing I want to say is this. A lot of you so-called white people like to say, we're not like our fathers. We're different. We don't see things that way. Well, if you're different, why do I not see a movement of those of you so-called white people that proclaim to be different or dissident from your forefathers? Why is there not an up movement or upliftment of a percentage of you that's going forward and saying, hey, we profited off of over 300, 400 years, should I say, of slave labor. Most of what we have today was actually established off of free slave labor of the so-called blacks here in the hells of America, and the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and natives, and what they refer to as the West Indies. And I'm going to hit you with something. You Hispanics, you were slaves, because many of you Hispanics are ignorant and don't realize that you were slaves. You were slaves as well. So I want to educate all of you. I want to educate all of you because many of you are ignorant. And that does not mean that you're stupid. It essentially means to not know. You just actually have not been informed about a certain thing. And the vast majority of our people have not been informed properly about most things regarding history. Despite where you may have actually been educated in these so-called institutions of higher learning, even if you've been to Harvard or Yale. It makes you a better, what's the word I should use? Servant, should I say. A better servant. You could actually more appropriately serve your corporate masters because you're merely corporate fictions. You don't know your status. You don't know your nationality. You don't know who you are. Who are you? Nevertheless, let me go into some history. First, I want to touch on a white demon by the name of John. There's been a lot of people, various people, that actually stated that the slave trade first took place in America. It's modern Babylon in the 1600s. That is not true. That is not true. The first slave ship that actually sailed to America was in the 1500s. And that's an undisputable fact. And if you don't believe me, go and check it out. Now, my grandfather told me stories about his great-grandfather that actually was a slave and used to speak of slave narratives that they used to sing about Jesus, saying that you could have your apple pie, just give me Jesus. And what he explained to me is they were not talking about the so-called white man, the white image of Jesus, because he knew that wasn't Christ. He knew it. What they was talking about was Jesus of Lubeck. Was the name of the first slave ship that sailed to America, also known as the good ship Jesus. Now, there was a man by the name of Admiral Sir John Hawkins. Name is spelled Hawkins, but it's also spelled Hawkyns. And his lifespan was from around the time of 1532 to 12th November 1595. Now, he was an English shipbuilder. And this man, John Hawkins, was also a naval administrator, and he was a commander, he was a merchant, and he was a navigator, and he was a pirate. And this man also was a slave trader, John Hawkins. Now, he was a treasurer in 1577 and the controller in 1589 of the Royal Navy. Now, this man rebuilt older ships, and he helped design the faster ships that they came out with. And these faster ships actually withstood the Spanish Armada in 1588. I'm sure some of you have heard of that if you study history like I do. Now, he actually later devised a naval blockade to actually intercept the Spanish treasure ships. Now, one of the foremost seamen of the 16th century was this man, John Hawkins. He was the chief architect of the Elizabethan Navy. And in the battle in which Spain, in the battle in which the Spanish Armada was defeated in 1588, John Hawkins served as the vice admiral, and he was knighted. He was knighted after that. Now, John Hawkins was actually born in Plymouth. William Hawkins, who was John's father, was a confidant of Henry VIII of England and one of England's principal sea captains, having sailed to the New World in 1527. Now, there was another man, so-called white man, Edomite, by the name of Francis Drake. They referred to him as Sir Francis Drake. He was John's second cousin, and he helped him in his second voyage. Now, the first Englishman recorded to have taken slaves from Africa was not John Hawkins. First Englishman, I'm going to say it again, the first Englishman to sell from Africa with slaves was not John Hawkins, but a man by the name of John Locke. L-O-K. Go and check it out. Don't believe me? Go and check it out. He was a London trader also. And this occurred in 1555. It was Locke that bought slaves from Africa in 1555. He bought 5 slaves from Guinea. And there was also another London trader that, you know, was known for taking slaves at that time. And his name was William Towerson. Last name is spelled T-O-W-E-R-S-O-N. And his fleet sailed into Plymouth following the 1569 voyage to Africa, and from Plymouth on his 1557 voyage. Now, despite brothers and sisters, despite the exploit of Locke and Towerson, for whatever reason, many people like to credit John Hawkins as being the pioneer of the British slave trade. But it's incorrect. And don't believe me, go and check it out. He was the first to run the triangular trade and making a profit off of every stop. His first voyage was in 1555 to 1563. Now John Hawkins formed a syndicate of wealthy merchants to invest in trade, including slaves. So in 1555, he set sail with 3 ships for the Caribbean, not America, via Sierra Leone. Now they hijacked a Portuguese slave ship and traded 301 slaves in the Caribbean. So despite having 2 ships seized by the Spanish authorities, John Hawkins, he still sold slaves in Santo Domingo. And I'm going to hit you with something. You Hispanics need to hear this, because you Hispanics, many of you are ignorant and you don't realize that you were slaves. You Hispanics were slaves. Why do you think you speak Spanish? That's not your mother tongue. Your nationality is Israelite. You was conquered by the conquistadors and the Spaniards. That's why you speak Spanish. Understand that. And this is not to attack my, brothers and sisters, but you need to know the truth. So come on and learn the truth. So, I mean, this happened in Santo Domingo, and he made profit by his London investors. Now, Hawkins' voyage caused the Spanish to ban all English ships from trading in the West Indies colonies. Go and check it out. Don't believe me? Go and check it out. Now, later in 1564, Queen Elizabeth, at first, she detested what he said, what he was doing, enslaving these people, and she said that the God of heaven was going to come down and punish you. But when he explained to her the profit that she would make off of it, she partnered up with him in 1564. And you so-called black men, you would lay down with the white woman today, and she helped enslave your behind. Simple-minded black people. And you so-called blacks, all you complacent, simple, so-called black people that want to stand up and act like defense attorneys for your enemy and fight those of us that try to liberate your thinking, you should pray for death. You need death. You should get on your knees and beg for death, because you sell out your nation, and you're a traitor of your race. You want to cater up to Esau because he may have given you a job. And because of your funds, so you sell out your whole nation. You should be on your knees praying to that white Jesus that you believe in for death. Because that's what he's going to give you in the end. And I don't care if you don't like this. And we're going to teach hard. So, I mean, that's what it is. So after John Hawkins partnered with Queen Elizabeth, she actually rented him a 700-ton ship by the name of Jesus of Lubeck, also known as the good ship Jesus, on which he set forth for a more extensive voyage with 3 small ships. Now this is his second voyage. So Hawkins sailed to the Venezuela coast. And by the time that he reached, he captured over 400 so-called Africans who was Israelites. And then he also sailed the third voyage. He also had a third voyage in 1567 through 1569. Now, why am I teaching you this? Because you need to know the truth. You need to know the facts, brothers and sisters. You need to know how, and you so-called white people need to know that the reasons that you're in such established positions that you're in, the reason that you are so far ahead of these people that you refer to as black people, who are truly Israelites, the reason you're so far ahead because your forefathers benefited off of our knowledge, our architect, and our free labor for over 400 years. And then you turn and say, why can't we just forget about it? After you profited after all of that, you say just forget about it? And you got those simple so-called complacent Negroes that say, oh, just forget about it while you're holding on to the past. Those that forget their past are doomed to repeat it. And you so-called blacks and Hispanics, you're repeating it right now because you're mental slaves. You've been mentally manipulated through a process known as psychological engineering. They use subliminal suggested perception all the time on their televisions and their movie theaters. And you have remained a slave because you suffer from the Stockholm Syndrome. And you don't even realize it. The best type of slave there is those that do not realize that they are slaves. And that is the condition of the vast majority of you so-called blacks and Hispanics that want to act like defense attorneys for the Edomites and attack us that's trying to liberate your thinking. Shame on you. Shame on you, black man, black woman, a so-called black man and black woman. You don't even know your status. What is your status? What is your nationality? Who are you? What is your standing? You're a bunch of fictions. You're a bunch of corporate fictions. And these corporate giants, these corporations, are the slaveholders. You're corporate fictions. You don't know who you are. You refer to yourself as Negro, black, and colored. Those are brands. That's not a nationality. That's a brand. Black is a color. That's not a nationality. Negro, a byword. African American. Who are you? What is your status? You don't know. You don't know. Get your minds right, brothers and sisters. Get your minds right. We're trying to teach you the truth, and you want to fight us. And you simple-minded, so-called black men, you hate me right now. You hate me right now because I'm telling you the truth, and it's cutting you. And you can't handle it. But St. John's 8:32 say, you shall know the truth, and the truth will make you free. Why do you need to know the truth? Because Hosea 4:6, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge. That's why you need the truth. So there's no greater gift that you can receive than the truth. Because that's the only thing that's going to make you free. Money's not going to make you free. It's a fiat currency. It's an evidence of a debt. It's a fiat currency. It's not going to make you free. Look at all these celebrities, so-called black celebrities, and all of these so-called black basketball stars, football stars, boxers that make millions. What are you doing for your community?
Some people got to have it. Some people really need it. Listen to me, y'all. Do things, bad things with it. Dollar bills, y'all. Come on, that almighty dollar. I know that money. Give me a nickel, brother. Can you spare that? Money can drive some people out of their mind. No good.
You don't pool your resources. You don't care about your people. It's all about me, I. You're divided. Because you are a fiction. You are a corporate construct. Constructed by these corporations. They are the slaveholders. And you are a modern day slave. You are a modern day slave. What is your capacity? You don't know. You don't know who you are. You think you're a colored boy. You think you're an African American. You think you're a so-called Negro. You think you're a black man. You think you're a Hispanic. You think you're a Puerto Rican. You think you're a Dominican. You think you're a Honduran. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. And since you have rejected knowledge, the Most High is still rejecting your behind. That's why you're still in these conditions. So you gotta go to Massa and beg for a job. And you gotta prove how loyal you are by attacking, by launching attacks. That's your cardinal principle, to launch attacks at the very people that is attempting to liberate your thinking.
Of hatred that blacks have against whites. They consider that to be a nutcase.
That's what he was, Larry.
I agree.
He wasn't racist, he was a nut.
I absolutely agree with that. But if we want to take the argument that you look at something an individual does, like those people did to James Byrd, and then create a case that there's a lot of racism against black people, you could do the same thing with crime blacks commit against whites. If you look at violent interracial crime, black-white crime, there are about 1 million acts of violent black-white crime any given year. And by violent, I mean rape, murder, robbery with aggravated manslaughter. About 90% of that involves a black perpetrator and 90% involves a white victim.
But you're half right, Larry, because as you well know, so you don't tell the whole story. The other part of the story is that but I've heard you before this argument. You won't admit this. Well, most crimes. Let me finish. Most crimes committed against whites are committed by other whites. Most crimes committed by blacks are committed by other blacks. Well, what's your point?
It depends on the category of crime. Almost half.
So you're picking one or two categories.
Almost half of certain categories of crime committed by blacks are in fact against white people. But the point is this, Tavis, when you look at the percentage of blacks in the population, blacks are committing far more crime against whites than the other way around, way more. Look at polling data, anti-Semitism. The good news is that in America, anti-Semitism is at an all-time low. However, in the black community, the anti-Semitic rate is almost 3 times higher than in the non-black community.
I don't want to go down this list, but I still think that does a disservice to the facts. If most crimes committed against whites are committed by whites, most crimes committed against blacks are committed by blacks, I think you're doing a disservice when you're not representing. It's intellectual dishonesty.
Almost half of
the slave master took Tom and dressed him well and fed him well, and even gave him a little education, Gave him a long coat and a top hat, and made all the other slaves look up to him. Then he used Tom to control them. The same strategy that was used in those days is used today. by the same white man. He take a Negro, so-called Negro, and make him prominent, build him up, publicize him, make him a celebrity, and then he becomes a spokesman for Negroes and a Negro leader. I would like to just mention one thing else quickly, and that is the method that the white man uses, how the white man uses these big guns or Negro leaders against the black revolution. They are not a part of the black revolution. They're used against the black revolution. Just as the slave master in that day used Tom, the house Negro, to keep the field Negroes in check, the same old slave master today has Negroes who are nothing but modern Uncle Toms, 20th century Uncle Toms, to keep you and me in check.
Dissident you are from us. You don't want to be associated with us, so in fear, you attack us. You attack us. But you're going to find out that Esau is the devil, the children of perdition, the children of hell, and it's going to be too late because you're going to get caught up without your nation. You're going to get caught up without your nation. So what's in a name?
Focus on race. Today we're exploring what it's like to hate your own race. My next guest is a black man who hates his appearance so much that he is desperate to change his race. Lawrence is a 21-year-old African-American who has never been happy in his own skin.
Being born black is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, and I really think it's ruined my life. When I look at black people, I honestly see, like, ugliness. I see a wide nose, big lips. I just do not like my race. Growing up was very hard for me because I didn't really identify with the black people in my community. But then on the other hand, the white people couldn't really identify with me, so I didn't really fit in anywhere. It's almost a curse to be black and dark skinned. I think if I were white, everything would be okay. I would not hate myself, and I'd feel a lot better about myself, and all my problems would go away.
So Lawrence, you hate yourself?
Yes.
Do you hate other black people too?
Yes.
Why do you hate black people?
I think it's oppressing, the black race. I think the way we as a whole carry ourselves, the way we're predicted, it's a curse to be black.
It's a curse to be black?
Yes.
So I'm sitting here just cursed to damnation?
Not you. I would consider you in the other category.
I'm an other?
Yes. Like me, in a different category.
So we're different, we're others?
Yes.
You say that you're a white man trapped in a black man's body?
Yes, I often believe that.
What does that mean?
When I wake up in the morning, I hate what I see. I just feel I'm black on the outside, not on the outside, not on the inside. I often wish I was white on the outside as well as the inside.
I never heard someone say that they're a white man trapped in a black man's body. I've heard people say that there's a woman trapped inside of me, or, you know, transgendered people, but I've never heard a race thing that was trapped.
Well, it's something I've been dealing with. It's what I feel, and it's a struggle day in and day out.
Slaves used to sing the narrative. You could have your apple pie, but just give me Jesus. The first slaves didn't worship no red image of Christ, Caesar Borgia, the second son of the sixth Pope of Rome. They didn't worship that. They tried to force it in them. They tried to beat it in them. And many of them died because they would not accept that false indoctrination. They rejected it. They would rather die. They don't tell you about the history of those. They don't tell you about the history of the slaves that revolted and fought back. They don't want you to know that. Many of them didn't accept that. They said, you could have your apple pie, just give me Jesus. They was talking about that shit. They would run down to the riverbank looking for Jesus. Not a so-called white man. That shit. The good shit, Jesus. Jesus of Lubeck. And if you didn't know, now you know. But what's in the name? What's in that name, Jesus? So-called white man told you that it was love, that it was kindness, that it was gentleness, that it was salvation. But their Jesus, he came preaching another Jesus, and their Jesus got you what? It got you death. It got you in the ghetto. It got your women against your men and your young black boys, so-called black boys, These young Israelite men are out there in the street killing
explosion of violence on the streets of Chicago. Dozens of people have been shot, many of them killed, and all in just a matter of hours. ABC's Alex Perez is there for us right now. Alex, good morning to you.
Good morning, Josh. Chicago had been seeing an overall decline in the number of homicides and shootings so far this year until this weekend. Some eye-opening numbers. At least 7 killed, according to authorities, and some 46 others injured in shootings over the weekend. Now, the victims range in age from 16 to 40, and authorities are still investigating these cases, but say the majority of these incidents were gang or drug-related and took place in the city's crime hotspot areas. Now, despite this weekend, the police superintendent's office says there has been progress made by targeting these crime hotspot areas with additional officers, and they point out the city's overall homicide rate is still down this year.
That's what it got you. It got you a mental death. You're mentally demised. You're the living dead. You are the valley of dry bones. That's what it got you. That's what Jesus got you. The one that he gave. All you so-called Christians within the sound of my voice, and all you pastors, and all you bishops, and all you reverends, you need to turn your church over to an Israelite congregation. Turn your whole congregation over to an Israelite camp so these people can learn the truth, because their blood is going to be on your hands. Because it's Jesus that you gave them, got them horror, got them despair, got them suffering, got them sleeping in their own defecation and urine. And even in today, got them in a ghetto, killing each other, murdering each other. They don't value themselves. They refer to each other as nigga. Yo, that's my nigga. Yo, that's my son. Why? So when you refer to him, oh, that's my nigga, and you look at him like he ain't nothing. You don't say that's my brother. That's my nigga. So when the beat pop off, oh, I'll kill that nigga. I'll shoot that nigga. Because you're not really looking at him as a brother. That's your nigga. So it's easy to kill a nigga. A nigga don't mean nothing. It's easy to kill a nigga. But because when you talk, psychologically, you act out on that. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So if your brother is a nigga to you, it's easy to snuff his life out. After all, he's just a nigga. I'm going to my crib. I'm going to my rest. You going to your crib? Babies go to cribs. And you call your woman, what's up, Ma? How you doing, Ma? So you looking at your wife as she's your mom. And many of you want her to take care of you. Why? Because the way that you express yourself is how you really think. It's how you really think from a subconscious perspective. Yo, what up, Ma? So you want her to take care of you. Man up, gird up your loins like a man. You're supposed to lead, man. You're supposed to be the leader. Take the lead. But first you got to clean yourselves up. So we calling all you so-called Black and Hispanics and Native Americans to the truth. Ain't no one else doing that. No one's teaching this truth like Israelites. Why are you Israelites out there battling with clowns like Polite? Why are you letting them eat off of you? The only time they generate a lot of money is when they battle you Israelites. What's the point? They're not calling our people to repentance. That madness that they're teaching them, they could do anything. Commit adultery, so on and so forth. But the Israelites are teaching our people the truth. Teaching them how to live right. You can't do this. You shouldn't eat this bad food. You can't be sleeping with this woman, that woman, that woman. It's giving you moral standards. It's giving you guidance to live by, that if you was to live by them, your life would change. You will come together in unity. See, divided, we're weak. But when we come together, that's power. But you all have fighting one against the other, one camp against the other. And you can't give a nigger nothing. Because many of these camps, you're just a bunch of niggers with Bibles in your hands. You're Bible-toting thugs. I see you. And the Lord see you. And the Lord see you out there arguing with each other. beefing over this and that. Oh, where's your fringes? Or how come can you keep all of the laws, so on and so forth? Got other brothers from other camps running up on other brothers just trying to teach our people the truth. You going to battle with your brothers. You're not but a damn demon. And if this cuts you, it needs to. Because that's not the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. That's not the spirit of Christ. You're coming with demons. You're doing it for show. You're doing it for show so people can say, oh, that brother's very knowledgeable. But inside you wicked as hell. You can tell when the spirit of truth is on someone. You're attacking your brother. Your brother out here trying to teach your people, trying to work your people up. And you going and you attacking his camp. Get your minds right, brothers and sisters. Get your minds right. Pray. Pray for a clear heart. Because many of you are messed up, man. Many of you are messed up. And that's the truth. So yeah, I mean, and that's what this is all about. John Hawkins was the first slave ship to come to America. Well, he was the first captain to sell a slave ship to America, an admiral. And the slave ship was the good ship Jesus. So, off of the coast of Africa, near Sierra Leone, Hawkins captured between 300 and 500 slaves, mostly by plundering the Portuguese ships. But he also did a lot of it by violence. And he promised many of the Israelites, who they referred to as Africans, that they would get gold for their labor here in America. So some, they say, voluntarily went. But others, many, was forced to go. And he sold most of the slaves in what is known as today the Dominican Republic. So you wonder why some of you have the content of our skin and you speak Spanish. Portuguese. The conquistadors. So this man, this demon, John Hawkins, returned home with a profit and ships laden with ivory and sugar. And that was the beginning of the British slave trade. And once again, on his return to England, Queen Elizabeth, you know, she was charging him with what he was doing was very detestable and so on and so forth, and vengeance would come down from heaven upon him and upon all the undertakers that took, you know, part in these evil acts. But when he discussed with her the profits that she could make, she became a partner with John Hawkins, and then she provided him with the ship Jesus of Lubeck, aka the good ship Jesus. And later, brothers and sisters, slaving expedition in 1567 consisted of 5 ships, and Jesus of Lubeck was met with resistance from the Spaniards in St. Juan, Mexico. Now, since the slave trade was illegal at such time, the Spanish colonists usually required a chariot of force from the British ships. And after that, they would buy slaves at a discount to damn sale. So this time, brothers and sisters, in 1567, the Spanish attacked the British ships, and that Jesus of Lubeck, or the good ship Jesus, was sunk. And the crew was slaughtered. But somehow, John Hawkins escaped with Drake on smaller ships. So, I mean, that's the history on this this demon, John Hawkins. So the first ship that came here was Jesus. And our forefathers used to sing about Jesus. That's the song that you heard in the beginning of this video. And if it's not exactly how it went, it's similar. It's a depiction of that song. So the Jesus that they sang and cried for was that shit. They wanted their freedom. And what did they get for trying to be free? They got their foots chopped off. They got their legs chopped off. Second time they tried to escape. So they wouldn't run anymore. They turned them into cripples because they wanted to be free. Many of them was murdered. Why? Because they wanted to be free. Terrorism in America? Terrorism doesn't just rise up in a vacuum. Who terrorized the natives of this land? Who terrorized them? The so-called white men. Who put smallpox in the blankets for the indigenous people of this land? A man named Amherst. Killing off the indigenous people when they was trading with him in good faith. And at the same time, that no good bastard was putting smallpox in the blankets, killing them off. You trust this? That's what you want? That's what you're fighting us for? Who terrorized mine, your forefathers? Now, the children of the slaves says to the children of the slave masters, why can't we all just get along? Why can't we all just get along? The children of the slave masters saying, why can't we just forget about it? All of us has done wrong. There is nothing, not even close, in the annals of history to the horrific, barbaric atrocities that the so-called white man, woman, and child has done to Yasha Allah. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but mainly you so-called blacks.